What's going on, y'all? This is Trice, and today we're going to be taking a look at Lonzo and LaMelo Ball and determine who's going to make the biggest jump this season. Obviously, the two Ball brothers have been at the top of basketball conversations for years now. We've been watching them since they were in high school, and now to see them both performing at the NBA level is really crazy to see, I know for myself. But even crazier is the fact that they're both finally in situations where they're able to flourish, and it's really cool to see them making strides at a pro level. So getting into kind of a head-to-head comparison here, diving straight into stats. Lonzo in 2020-2021 played in 55 games where he averaged 14.6 points per game, which was a career high, 5.7 assists per game, which was a near career low, 5 rebounds and 1.5 steals, shooting 37.8% from 3, which was a career high, especially considering the fact that prior to that he had been shooting around 30% from 3. So to jump that high in the last 2 years with the Pelicans and his 3-point percentage goes to show the kind of progress he made from beyond the arc. Now, getting into LaMelo, he did miss some games for that wrist injury, so he only played 51 games, averaged 15.7 points per game, 6.1 assists per game, and 1.6 steals, shooting around 35% from 3, and he was named Rookie of the Year. So an impressive rookie campaign there. Obviously scored quite a bit of points and averaged 6 assists and 6 rebounds as a rookie. That's some pretty consistent numbers, especially for a guy who wasn't getting a consistent amount of time in Charlotte early in the year. So now what I'm going to do is kind of give a insight to both players, and then at the end I'm going to come back in and give my thoughts as far as comparing the two together. So with Lonzo, I think he showed a ton of growth as a scorer in 2021. He was forced to play more off ball because they were trying to get the ball into Zion's hands, initiating the offense more. Brandon Ingram obviously was a big part of their offense. So instead of being able to play his traditional like point guard role that he's used to playing his whole life, he was caused to play off ball kind of more as almost an off ball shooter, sometimes being used in sets, but for the most part his usage rate dropped. He had just averaged last season 7.5 assists per game. So the fact that he dropped off his assist numbers that much just goes to show how much he was being underutilized in his traditional role. Obviously also had to deal with trade rumors all season, like all around the All-Star break. They were talking about dealing him to teams. That being said, he's a great pure point guard when he's allowed to run the show. We've seen that for a few years now. Even when he was with the Lakers, he was still had so many great flashes of being that awesome pure point that we knew he would be coming out of UCLA. He's really good at getting the ball ahead in transition. We've all seen the clips by now of the full court outlet passes and, you know, the high flying alley-oops. Like, he's always got his head up in transition looking for guys. I think that's what's going to be such a great asset to him now that he's in Chicago. The fact that he's running the floor with guys like Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan in transition is going to be huge for him. He obviously made some huge strides as a shooter, which takes his potential to a whole nother level for me. You know, there's a big difference between being a pure point that can set others up and being a pure point that can set others up and knock down shots yourself, because that makes the defense have to guard you a whole different way. So the fact that Lonzo added that consistent jumper to his repertoire, the fact that he worked on that form the way he has and made the progress on his shooting form, it just goes to show that he's serious about making a mark in the NBA. And that, along with him being one of the better on-ball defenders in the league today, is why I think he's going to have a great situation in Chicago this season. I love the fact that they surrounded him with so many skilled scorers. Nikola Vucevic is going to be there with him. He's never played with a skilled big man on that level. He played with Zion, but Zion doesn't have the same skill set as Nikola does. You know, he's going to be more of a in the post, can shoot the three consistently. So seeing him run the pick and pop with him, run transition, like I said, with DeMar and LaVine, like, it's going to be really exciting to see him finally get the keys to an offense again. Getting into LaMelo Ball, he's coming off his big Rookie of the Year campaign. If you're interested, I've got a nice short film called Arrival on my channel where I dive into ins and outs of that season and how he was able to overcome the wrist injury and how he was able to overcome coaches holding him back from playing the most and all these things. So kind of just a deep dive in his Rookie of the Year season. I'm sure you would enjoy that. But LaMelo has the excitement factor. He's a human highlight. Every time he's on TV, I feel like it's must watch. You never know what he's going to do in a game. Even in the preseason this year, he was throwing some ridiculous no-look passes and setting guys up. I personally love watching him. He's becoming one of my favorite players to watch. That being said, his game is extremely similar to Lonzo as far as the way they play in transition. LaMelo's always looking down court for guys in transition, just like his brother is. We've seen the connections he has with Miles Bridges and on the lobs and the backdoor cuts. He's always looking for opportunities to set his teammates up. Now, the biggest difference I will say between him and his brother is that when he wants to go get a bucket, he will hunt for his shot. Lonzo is not necessarily that type of player. He showed flashes of it at UCLA, and he still does sometimes, but it's not consistent where he's going to be an aggressive scorer. But LaMelo will aggressively hunt for a shot attempt if he wants one, and that includes off the dribble threes. It includes, trying to mix a guy up and get into the mid-range game. He's very aggressive when he's in attack mode. So that separates him a little bit more from Lonzo. That's why he averaged more points in his rookie year than Lonzo has ever averaged, because he hunts for more shots in that case. I love the roster that Charlotte has running the floor with LaMelo. I like that they added Kelly Oubre. I like that they drafted James Bouknight, who's one of my favorite prospects in the draft. Like, these are guys who can really run the floor with Melo. They're guys who are going to complement him well. The biggest question with Melo is going to be, can he avoid a sophomore slump? Lonzo saw his numbers dip a little bit in year 2. A lot of rookies do. So the question to me is going to be, can LaMelo avoid a dip in the numbers and continue progressing the way that he showed in his rookie season? Looking at the head-to-head now, I think both of these guys are in great situations that believe in them as players. They're both going to have much larger roles next season than they did the previous year. Both Lonzo having, the keys to an offense and being able to be that full-time point guard again, and LaMelo obviously proving himself in his rookie year is going to be given more responsibility in Charlotte. I really like Lonzo being the floor general on a playoff contending team, and I think Chicago is set for a run in the playoffs this year. So, if everything comes together, we're talking about Lonzo Ball being a key component to possibly a contending team. That holds a lot of weight when talking about a comparison between the two, because Charlotte obviously is not at that place right now. I'm curious to see if this year they're going to kind of trust his development on the court rather than try to control it off of it. So if they are able to stop micromanaging him, then that'll be a big deciding factor in what LaMelo does next season. At the end of the day, I believe both Ball brothers are going to establish themselves as like upper tier point guards this season, but I personally have to give my vote to Lonzo as far as who I think is going to make the biggest jump this season. I think he has a better opportunity to fit his needs. With a team like Chicago, who, as we talked about earlier, is going to be getting down the floor in transition, going to be running, going to give him the opportunity to be an anchor on that defense on the perimeter. It's just tailor fit to what he could want. And so not only is this going to be the opportunity for him to have the biggest jump, but it's going to be a very telltale sign about how Lonzo's going to be as an NBA player starting this year, because you can't ask for a better fit than Chicago is for him. He's got the confidence of the franchise. They've told him that they want him to be himself. They've told him that they want him to bring to the table what he's capable of. So I think with that kind of freedom and the opportunity to grow as a player, it's hard for me not to say that he's going to make the biggest jump between him and his brother. Now, that being said, it's a close decision and I could see an argument for either side. So let me know in the comment section below, who do you think is going to make the biggest jump this season and why? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Obviously, LaMelo and Lonzo are hot topics, and I'm sure there'll be some great opinions. But that's all I have for y'all today. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out some of my new projects that have just come out, including my new documentary, Most Hated, about Kevin Durant and how he became the NBA's greatest villain, just in time for Halloween. All that being said, I don't want to take any more time out of your day. Again, appreciate you for tuning in, and be sure to be on the lookout for upcoming videos. I'll catch y'all next time. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to drop a like, leave feedback in the comment section below, and subscribe for more. We got some exciting things coming up soon, and you don't want to miss out, so be sure to ring that notifications bell and be on the lookout for full episodes of 101 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as soon as they come available.